And welcome to EDUtalk Show, another exciting edition right here on this particular channel, made possible by the Ministry of Education and the Teacher Education Journal. I am Emefa Apau, and today we get to delve into the assessment part. I'm sure we've been talking about the new curriculum that will be rolled out in the secondary education or the secondary schools in Ghana. Many of you have been talking about it. We've had an exciting edition on this where you get to understand a bit more about this particular curriculum. But there's a strand of it which is key, which is the assessment of this particular curriculum. At the end of it, there will be assessment. And many of you hear assessment and you get some jitters or some fears, but calm down. This is very different. And today, my guest is a NACA lead on this particular, curriculum assessment. And he's a Professor Eric Anane. He's the Director, Institute of Education, University of Cape Coast. And when it comes to assessments, he knows it all. He joins us on the show today. You're welcome to EDUtalk Show, Professor Anane. Good to have you. I hope you're not going to assess me. No. I don't like exams, so okay. Yeah. So it will be calm today. But let's get into assessment and then this particular curriculum.
Thank you.
There's a lot that we've heard about this particular curriculum, but from where you sit, what will be your own assessment? Before you start assessing, let's do an assessment of the new curriculum as you've seen it from the work that has been done.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the initial question that you have asked has really position assessment and probably gives a new perspective to assessment as we know it. Because when you talk of assessment, it's more than just testing or taking examination.
Yeah.
So the whole curriculum is assessment, and assessment is the whole curriculum. Because before you engage in any curriculum development or review, you need to take stock of what is it that you want to put in place. What is it that you want your citizens or learners to learn at any level. So having a look at that in itself is assessment. So you need to make sure you check whether the education is well positioned, what they are learning is very effective and efficient and also important for the nation. So when you talk of assessment, it's broader than probably what we normally see it and maybe the way we conceptualize it. So as we go along, we talk more. So going into curriculum development and review is a requirement if you want to achieve these things. So from where I sit, I believe that it is a decision taken in the right direction. And for this curriculum review, one thing that we have done is that we have had a look at all the things that we need and also try to touch it holistically, not just the change of curriculum, but looking at what is it that we need to be able to implement the curriculum effectively for optimal learning to take place. So that is one thing that you can see about this curriculum is taking a holistic approach, including assessment. I think then that's why we are talking about it in that regard.
Well, having a full appreciation, what would you say is your observation when it comes to the key features of assessment of this new curriculum?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, in terms of assessment, like I said earlier, one of the key features of this curriculum is trying to demystify assessment as we know it.
Okay.
Concentrating on the testing aspect of assessment. This curriculum tries to project assessment as it's supposed to be, that it involves gathering information, making sure that we understand what is it that is happening in the education system, so that we can take informed decision in every aspect of it as to what we have organized for our learners to learn, the materials available for teaching and learning to happen, and then also to be able to gauge the learning that has gone on. And to do that, you need diverse ways of assessing. Assessment cannot go in one direction. So if you look at this curriculum, it takes a look at that. It takes a look at how can we put, what can we put in place, and how can we assess in meaningful ways of achieving the things that we talk about. Because we've been talking about the fact that the curriculum covers 21st century skills. And what are these skills? Because you're talking about collaboration or collaborative skills, you are talking about adaptive skills, you are talking about critical thinking, problem-solving abilities. Can we assess it in the ways that we have been doing it and achieve it? Are there ways that we need to engage in assessments such that these behavior can be achieved effectively and be taught? So if you look at this curriculum, that is what is new about. Unlike the previous maybe reviews or curricula that you've put in place, it has just been give them knowledge, give them behavior attributes, and then try to find out whether they can remember as much as possible. So the assessment was more of testing how you can remember a lot. So rote learning, rote memorization, to the point that we generated this idea of chew, pour, pass, and forget. But this curriculum is not about chewing. It's about getting engaged with the knowledge, being able to...
My understanding is it will be even difficult for you to actually chew with this new curriculum.
Sure. It's not about chewing at all. It's about knowledge forming part of you, and therefore you demonstrating that ability. Yes, and if that is what we require, then it means that we can assess the way we have been doing it in terms of just testing and examination. But you have to use other means of assessment. We all use mirrors. And when you said that, I hope I was not going to assess you. I said, you've already assessed yourself before coming here, because you use the mirror to look at what you have.
I was talking about knowledge assessment, not the look assessment.
Very good. So the knowledge assessment is the same way. So the assessment that we use in school is just like the mirrors that we use. That mirror reflects the behavior that we want learners to exhibit. So if it is seen as a mirror, then you'll be able to check whether the mirror we are using is appropriate, because you have different types of mirrors that we use. If you want to see your face and you use convex mirror, you know how your face will look like. In the same way, in our school system, it appears that sometimes, many a times, you use wrong mirrors to reflect different abilities and skills. And in that way, so there are different forms of assessment strategies for different ability and skills and behavior. And that is what is being done now.
And that's all in this new curriculum? In this new curriculum.
So if you take this new curriculum, you don't find one assessment strategy being used repeatedly for everything.
To special needs
Special needs, yes. We are working fervently on coming out with ways of assessing those who do sign language, and then also those who do Braille, blind students, those who have different forms of ability or different forms of needs. We need to provide for them. So it provides for different and diverse needs of learners.
In all this, I've heard two key forms, which is the formative and the summative, at least in doing this show. These are two key words that I've come across when it comes to this particular curriculum. How would it be different from the traditional assessment methods that we all know and have come to be used to, you would say?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, in the traditional form of assessment has really always focused on the summative part of it. You ask of the two, formative and summative. Yeah, as the name suggests, when you say formative assessment, is assessment that is done as a way of collecting information about you learning, the process of learning, or as we may put it ordinarily, as the formation stages of the individual. Those of us in assessment and for that matter, education see the training of an individual is a formation process. Your brain is being formed, your behavior is being formed. It's just like the development of a baby. So you attend antenatal, you go for checking, scanning, so that you can take the right nutrition and exercises and other things. In the same way, in the school system and in our education system, there is the need to constantly monitor the learning that is taking place. Whether what has been set out is what is going on, whether you are developing appropriate behavior, whether the knowledge and the ability that we want you to acquire is being acquired. So in that process, that assessment that we engage in is formative. So that assessment is to help us sort of transform the system, gather information to make sure development goes on. So for formation, it helps the learner to also track themselves as to whether they are achieving the standards that has been set for you. So that is the assessment that is being emphasized now, because that is where we get learning taking place. When you are leaving the school system, there is the likelihood of somebody trying to understand what you have learned in the school system because they were not there. So how do we get to show the person that you've learned something and these are the areas you learn? That is where the summative assessment comes in, as a total sum of what you have learned. A sample of it.
Which is the WASI one that we are going to be writing at the end of it.
Very good. So that is the WASI. So the WASI is a way of just saying that, yes, I went through the school system. This is what I have learned. So the main focus should be on what goes on in the school system, the formative aspect of it. So the WASI is just to tell an outsider that, yes, on the surface of it, this is what I've done. So why then do we focus on the WASI more than what is going on in the school system? So this curriculum, as much as possible, emphasizes the formative assessment, knowing that if you're able to do it very well, the summative, which is WASI, will come easy. It wouldn't be a problem at all. So we normally say, seek ye first the formative assessment, and summative shall be added.
I'll say amen to that. But before we go on a quick break, maybe I would want you to address the issue about critical thinking, problem solving, because I've heard that this is actually going to happen when it comes to this new curriculum. But how about creativity also? Let's talk about it. How this particular assessment or the new curriculum will encourage critical thinking, problem solving, and then creativity in the students, you'd say.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, if you look at this curriculum, it was developed based on a certain principle. We have the back-forward approach, where we looked at what is it that you want the learners to learn and what behavior do you want them to acquire. And at the core of it is the 21st century skills, which includes creativity, critical thinking, collaborative approach, and all those things. So in terms of assessment, we have come out with what is known as teacher assessment manuals. And in that teacher assessment manuals, we've been able to carefully select what is the assessment strategies that are aligned with some of these behaviors. For example, critical thinking. You cannot use paper and pencil to assess critical thinking that easily, because this is behavior that happens almost every day, every time in the learning process in its real world situation. So you need to put people in context to be able to find out whether they can exhibit such behavior. So in terms of assessment, if within 3 hours you ask me to describe something or explain something, you'll not be able to determine that. So the assessment strategies engaged in projects, making sure that students engage in project. And as they engage in project, they are creative, They are going to synthesize, sort of bring different ideas together. And using different knowledge that they have gained to be able to come out with solving.
But projects is a system that we know in the tertiary level, amongst others, but that's coming to
very good. So you have seen projects. It's only at the tertiary level that
and all that.
Yes, but
so they'll have presentations, projects, and all that at that level.
Very good.
Oh,
presentations, project. Yes, you create a project. You need to come and present and show the ideas, and these ideas can even be used at a lower level. We have to start early if you want to make sure it become creative nation or creative individuals are trained.
Professor Eric Anane is my guest. He's the Director of Institute of Education at the University of Cape Coast, and he's my guest on the EDUtalk show today, and we are doing assessments, all forms of assessments when it comes to this new curriculum that's been rolled out in the senior high schools in Ghana. And we'll take a quick break. We're right back. This is EDUtalk show made possible by the Ministry of Education and the Teacher Education Journal. Please do stay with us. We're right back after the break. Yeah, welcome back to the EDUtalk show, and today we are focusing on the new curriculum, and the assessment bit is the key concern for us. Professor Eric Anane is very well versed in that area, and so far he's taking us deep. He's about to take us deeper into it. You're welcome back. Prof, thank you so much for staying with us here on EDUtalk show. So before we went on the break, we've been talking about the problem solving, the critical thinking, and the creativity that this new curriculum will bring out in our younger folks at the senior high school level. So let's talk about transcript, that aspect of the entire assessment. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, thank you very much. The transcript is also another way of making sure that we sort of change the phase of the assessment practice in our schools. Because over the years, it's almost like all that we do at the WASI level, or let's say at the end of the training, that is what is captured for people to know. Because earlier we said that the summative, and especially the one that is done externally, is what is available for people to show.
Yes.
Now, what we are saying is that whatever has been done in the school system, we need to find a way of making sure that it is captured in a holistic way for people to know. There are some of the things, if we are talking about 21st century skills, and we said earlier that not everything can be assessed with paper and pencil.
Yes.
Like sit-down examination that you show your, let's say, your leadership skills. How do you show that? But in the school system, the school can describe whether you have leadership skills or not. They should be able to capture that. You are somebody who is a team player. How do you capture that? You can't ask somebody to describe whether the person is a team player or not. So how do you capture that one as well? So in the school system, we should be able to capture things that we cannot sort of use paper and pencil to find out or to show in terms of what we can do or what we cannot do. So the transcript system gives us the opportunity to have a broader view about the learner. So the transcript is going to capture the subjects that you have done. So let's say I come first year and I take about 12 subjects, including those that I have for my elective areas. I should be able to have that captured on my transcript, even though I may not
be assessed,
or I might drop them, yes, along the line, yes, and probably keep 7, which is needed for my future life and all that I want to do. But all that I have done earlier, it should be captured in some way. Because currently, some schools do that, but you don't have any way of getting or knowing that. So whatever you exit with, that is what is not, 8 subjects, that is it. You might have done other things, which is very good, but people don't know. So the transcript system is to get us the opportunity for learners to do these things and capture them.
Oh, wow. But would it not put a lot of pressure on these children, because you have to focus on your main subject, yet maybe you are really interested in something else? will it not be too much for them?
Not really, because like you said, given the opportunity, you would have done other things. You see, when people do things that they love, that they have value for, they tend to get the energy to do it. So the current practice is rather putting stress on them, because sometimes you are boxed into something that you really don't like. If you have your own way, you would have done other things, or you would have other things that will make you happy doing, or to gain other skills. So it's not going to be a burden at all.
So
and
now,
there is room for people to choose as many as they can, and based on their strength. So if you can do 7, yes, you do. If I can do 12, because we have some learners who are gifted and talented and they can do more, why don't you give them the opportunity to do that? But again, that said, the transcript really, its main use is to make sure that some of the things that we cannot really use paper and pencil to do, like some of the soft skills or some of the transferable skills, as well as the 21st century skills, could be captured. So you have your transcripts, which indicates that you are very good at maybe
farming, for
putting
instance.
people, or farming, yes. You're very good at farming, your interest is in this area. So it captures you as a whole and making sure that people have a holistic view. Assessment should project the total view of the individual, not only the cognitive.
Just the academic
not
aspects of the
the
person,
academic aspect, the social aspect, that's the affective domain, as well as the psychomotor, what you can do with your hands. In your spare time, what were you doing? What are your hobbies? Were you engaging in that? We should be able to capture all these in a formal way where people can then make reference. So if you're going for interview, people probably may not need to call you, because if I get your transcript, I should be able to know whether you're a team player or not, whether you can collaborate effectively, what is it that you have done when you were in school.
So we no longer have to wait to get to the tertiary to get hold of transcripts. Now, at the end of SHS, you'll be able to get a transcript as well that identifies you as a person, your strengths, your weaknesses, and all that. That's interesting. But we have an exams body that's supposed to be doing the summative at the end of it all. Are there any changes also that we're going to be seeing, at least incorporating them into all this that will make it easy at the end of it, you would say? What kind of work do you suggest should be done in that area when it comes to incorporating WIEC into all this?
Yes, definitely there is a need to change. Assessment really drives curriculum, and that is why, again, this time, the focus has been placed on assessment and making sure that assessment plays a key role. Because if you have checked, the way the results from WIEC is used and the way the assessment is done by WIEC is really driving what goes on in our school systems. Now, people are in Form 1, Form 2. Why would they rush to go and write WIEC examinations? When they do that, there is a gap left in their learning and in their development that we are not focusing on, we are not looking at them. But everybody is looking at the results that you bring out. So if you're able to do that, we believe that you're okay. But later, we tend to see that, or we find out that people really have gaps in their knowledge and in their behavior. So we are much aware that whatever WIEC is doing is going to drive the implementation of the curriculum in the classroom. And therefore, we need to mirror, we need to make sure that their practice in terms of assessment reflects what is detailed in the curriculum. So if the curriculum says you should use projects in assessing creativity, WIEC should be able to also do that. So the summative, which is sometimes at the end, or the sum of it, should reflect the behavior that is expected. So if I want you to be creative, I can't use just sit-down exam to assess that. So they are going to accept the project and then the presentations and the seminars. So WIEC is also going through transformation in terms of the questions they write, the way the assessment is conducted, doing more of the practical and performance-based assessment. So now they will engage in oral, So let's say those doing Ghanaian languages, instead of just writing everything, we need to be able to assess you how you speak, how you are able to speak it well, not only in English and other languages. You should be able to do that. When it comes to music, let's say music, you should be able to put up performances as a way of your summative assessment, and it should be accepted. So it shouldn't be only physics, chemistry, biology, where we have practical examination. Art, if people are doing art, why should they write examinations to show? We should be able to set out examination, even though summative, where they come out with products. And then we are able to assess it as this is what you've been able to do. If somebody is doing robotics, and then the person just describe how robots are made or how these machines or these things are done, you should be able to build it. And WAEC should be able to assess that as part of. So the assessment is a continuum. It's a line. What WAEC does is one aspect of it. And again, I come back to the analogy of baby production. You see, the delivery is just one aspect of it. But I normally say that because that is where the adoring is. That's where we get something to enjoy. Everybody is focusing on that. Today.
But the formation.
Without looking at the formation. So now, whatever WAEC is going to do will be as a result of the formative or formative assessment. So they are going to reflect that one as well. So WAEC is going through a lot of changes. Now they are looking at concentration as to what are they going to assess. In terms of the curriculum now, they are doing what is known as curriculum summary. Now, they are not going to take aspects of the curriculum and assess. They are going to assess the whole of the curriculum. So there wouldn't be anything like WAEC curriculum and the school curriculum. Is one. So they are going to focus on every aspect of it. They are also going to make sure that whatever continuous assessment is going on in the school system, they monitor and give quality assurance and make sure that schools do the right thing with other stakeholders. So we can then trust what is coming from the school system and make sure that whatever we are doing here is also effective. As we wrap up today's edition, it's a good time for us to once again allay fears of parents, teachers, and then learners as well, and the general public when it comes to the rolling out of this. Maybe a few words to just allay those fears that indeed the assessment of this will not be as different as, or there's no fear in it when it comes to this assessment. Maybe in a minute we can just wrap it up on that for us nicely. Yeah, thank you very much. I believe that if there is anything that parents and students will have to think about, they need to be very happy because the assessment regime is flexible and is to help us achieve the goals of learning and also be able to help our learners to learn whatever they have to, whatever has been arranged for them or has been put together in the new curriculum. So assessment is going to be exciting. It's not going to be full of anxiety as we know it, where some parents don't even sleep or sometimes eat until their children finish examination. This one is going to be seamless, relaxed, and we are going to make sure that it's focused on the ability and the skills that we want learners to achieve in their curriculum. So I must say that it will be less anxious for learners and parents, and it's going to yield results that will be meaningful for whatever we have set out to achieve. That's Professor Eric Anane, Director, Institute of Education of the University of Cape Coast, my guest today for the EDUtalk show right here on this channel, made possible by the Ministry of Education and the Teacher Education Journal. I am Emefa Apau. Another edition comes your way same time right here on this channel. In the meantime, though, do continue to spread the word about the EDUtalk show. Have a good day. Thank you so much.